What's up, everybody? This is Mark from Solo Games, and today we're going to talk about the Complete Edition. The Complete Edition bundles are out. First product in a long time that LGSs can actually earn some decent living on it. Probably above minimum wage for the profit that they can take on this item. Probably can go home and give their kids, family, friends, some meat instead of just bread and cheese. Yeah, most LGSs are starving. Finally, they can eat today. All right, but today is not what we're going to talk about. We're not talking about LGS and how it's a bad business. But we're going to talk about what the state of Complete Edition is, what WOTC has done, and what I think about what's going to happen in the next 2 to 4 weeks for this product. Okay, so first of all, I just talked to some of my sources across the globe. All right, so starting to build a small Solar Games network here. We got little blinks of solar arrays over on in Asia area, in Australia, in Canada, South America. Trying to get some guys from UK to feed me some data. If you are from the UK, feel free to send me an email. You can find it in my contact page, and I will definitely not mention your name on this video. All right, cool. So yeah, it's pretty much small inventory everywhere I see. Normally in other jurisdictions like Japan, Asia, those kind of places, they will have some US boxes, but usually when WOTC ships these overseas, they're not giving them a ton of English version. They're getting whatever localizations they have. Of course, the English does serve for like countries that don't have a localization. Like, for example, there's no Thai magic cards. So if you live in Thailand and you're buying magic cards, which again, very small supply, you're probably buying English. That's how it works. Japan, for example, will have Japanese and English. China has Chinese and English, etc. So this is basically how all the locales work. There are certain languages that are printed for Magic, but otherwise it's not available everywhere. Well, overall supply for this video, I'm only talking about the English boxes. As far as I can tell, in Australia, sold out. Canada, sold out. Japan may have a small supply, but the price is rapidly increasing even from distribution, so probably soon going to be sold out. China, as far as I can tell, sold out. Again, Japan, China, just so you understand, small supply of English boxes anyway, so that's not a surprise to me. On the US front, we're not just sold out. We've been sold out for, I would say, a month now. So I think as far as like my last order, I was able to place with somebody, was around like that beginning February, end of January era. So yeah, we've been pretty much sold out since then. Any orders I've tried to put in afterwards, denied, no more supply. Could distribution be cutting like my sources off? Yes, of course. Could it just be that they don't have any more? Absolutely. I think honestly, if distribution can make more money, why wouldn't they? It doesn't make any sense that they would cut people off, especially since back then, who knew whether this is going to be a hype product or not? Distribution is not really in that business to go spec on any particular product. They would much rather like hold a small inventory of everything, but in general, like ship out 95% of the products, right? That's by and large how distribution work. Their job is to flow the product. Their job is not to spec on any product. So if they say they're sold out, they're probably sold out, right? So that's the situation. So I think most of what the world in US in particular is looking for is what happens next. Is there going to be a print run? Is there going to be any more supply coming into market from WOTC? Because I can tell you right now, there's no more supply from distribution. It does look like it's pretty drained. And whatever that was not drained, probably got sent over from distribution. Sorry, not from distribution, from promised to distribution, sent over to big box retailers. Amazon, Target, Walmart was where I think we saw a lot of these being sold. And even those stores right now are marking this as sold out. So basically, I think what happened is that Amazon, Walmart, Target sold a bunch of this. These guys don't know anything about Magic or collectibles. They know inventory, they know pricing. So they probably negotiated with WOTC for some really preferential price, but they said basically you have to deliver everything we sell. No one knew this thing is going to sell so well. Walmart probably oversold whatever allowances they had or didn't realize they had. And so WOTC probably shifted some numbers around different distributors and then made it happen where, some distributors probably got cut, quantity wise, just how it's going to be. As far as I can tell, my Walmart orders have not been canceled. I think I purchased over 40 of the boxes from Walmart. Again, different sources. And then as far as like distribution cycle chains, whatever, I got over 50 something boxes. And then as far as now a couple of my news sources, I'm piecing together another 60. So I have a decent amount of these, but again, a lot of mine are also pre-sold. So that's why I'm able to fill the orders I can, because again, I'm guaranteeing all of these because I basically doubled up all my orders in case I wasn't able to fill orders. So anyways, as far as right now I can tell, I can fill every order and I will have extras to spare. I have not figured out what I want to do with those. So yeah, put your ideas in the comments because I have a couple ideas too. And I think we could do something really fun with these. All right. So price. Every comment that's been on my last video is about price, right? Where I show off the cards, they're great. Everyone, most of us agree they're really, really good looking. A couple of the commenters said something like, hey, it's not for me. Totally get it. And you know, that's the most beautiful thing is that when you see a product, it's beautiful, but it's not for you. Great, just skip it, do the next thing. I love it when that happens, honestly. I wish more of Magic felt that way. I think a lot of times we're pushed into it. Example of this is Secret Lair Walking Dead. I do not like the fact that I have very strong opinions about Universes Beyond, and I'm a big Warhammer fan, and you guys remember how I gushed about Warhammer, but honest to God, if I had a choice between Warhammer 40k decks being in Magic or not having Universes Beyond at all, I would choose not having Universes Beyond at all. No Street Fighter, no Warhammer, no Walking Dead, freaking, you know, Rick and Morty, all this stuff, gone. Please, get them out of here. It's my preference. I know it's not what a lot of people think. I'm probably on the minority here, but I like to have my IP separate from other people's IP. Especially, like, I'm okay with a little bit crossover collaboration, but it's too much. By the way, just so we're 5 minutes in, I want to warn everyone else, this is going to be a long ass video. So if you want to listen and sit through this, just leave right now, because there will be a lot of good information, but at the same time, I have a lot to say on my mind. I'm going to tell it because people want to hear it. So there you go. All right, price. Everybody's asking me about price. Mark, what's the right price? What should I buy it for? What's not a rip-off price? Look, when I told you guys this stuff 2 months ago, I said buy it at 80. It's everywhere, Amazon, whatever. And a lot of people didn't listen to me and they didn't want to buy it. Back then, I didn't pull the trigger because my price, obviously, from distribution was lower. Nowadays, I'm buying at anywhere between 90 to 100. I would take more boxes still. So I'm basically buying whatever price we were paying from Amazon, but I also thought I was going to get more boxes than what I was allocated. So everything has shifted, okay? It's still too early to tell. I think there's a lot of people coming to market because Friday, the reason why this Friday is really important today or yesterday is because TCG Player officially opens their availability for all sellers, not just like brick and mortar pre-sale sellers, the ability to sell their boxes. That's why you probably saw the dip on TCG Player recently, and you'll see a lot of micro sellers, 1 or 2 boxes, coming up on TCG Player selling for a ridiculously low price. They're chasing the bottom kind of, right? They're pushing the floor. Now, I'm gonna tell you right now, those guys are not gonna last. If you look even at the sell-through rate, number one, number two, look at like how many you have to sell through before you get to like the 140-ish price. It's not that many. So 120 right now is actually, really sad to say, it's actually a pretty good price. Now, my recommendation, I wouldn't pay 120, honestly. I think there's a lot of unknown variables here. Could we see a second print one? Absolutely. There's a non-zero chance that could happen. And that's it. So look, I don't think it's gonna stay at 120 right now in the short term because sell-through rate is really good. And as soon as those sellers get wiped out, the price is going to go up. 150, we're going to go back into like probably 160 to 180 range again. Stores are not dumb. If this is the one chance they can make money, they're going to make money on this thing. So they're going to follow. No store's going to list their entire inventory. And if they do, they're idiots because they're going to get wiped out by somebody, right? But what's going to happen is that they're going to list a couple, kind of like test the market. If those sell, they raise the price, etc. So you know you have a circuit breaker. This is pretty standard, right? Look, high sell-through rates. Number two, if you go to Amazon, look up the complete edition bundle. It's marked as #1 selling in trading card games. Take it for what you will, but Amazon does publish that data. I mean, obviously it's for FOMO. It's the whole like Amazon saying things like there's only 12 of these left or 1 of these left at this price or whatever, right? It's the same thing. But that data is also true. Despite whether or not it is a scheme to get you to pay or buy an item, it's also data. it is probably likely the number one selling item on Amazon. It's probably likely the number one item that's had the highest sell-through rate in TCG or trading card games. So take it for what it is, right? I'm telling you. Lastly, look at the cards. You don't have to like me. You don't have to like the video. You don't have to like WOTC. You can hate all these guys, but you can't deny the cards are good looking. Basically, a secret layer costs what, $40 for a premium foil edition for whatever. You're getting 2 secret layer full of lands, plus 2 of those secret layer treatment of some sort of like mythic rare. All right, and then you're getting a Phyrexian Arena, again, another special card, call it a bonus card, whatever. 12 packs, more premium lands. Remember the lands, the foil lands this time? First of all, there are no non-foil lands in this box. All the lands are foil within this, the promo packs or whatever. And they're all the premium ones, whether you like the panoramic lands or you like the metal, hard metal, rock band, whatever, Phyrexian lands. Those are all foil, those are all premium, and they're in the box. So you can deny the value, but if it's staring you straight in the face, it is what it is. Look, are those lands gonna tank? Absolutely. So right now, if you like the metal or the panoramic lands, probably the best time to go buy them now. Now, within next week, best time you're gonna get to buy those lands up, put them in your decks, whatever. Oil Slick, totally different story. I still think probably right now is gonna be the best time to pick those up because again, if we don't see a second print run, that's all we have. We're gonna have less and less of these lands, and most players are not looking for a set of 5 or 10. They're looking for 10 of each. So that's 50 lands. And if you're looking for 10 of each, you're looking at like 5 boxes, 5 complete bundles. Think about how many is each player on average has, and think about what the distribution of the lands has to be so that players who want it have to have 5 boxes worth of lands. Yeah, they're gonna fight for those lands, and those lands are gonna be expensive. And these are hands down the best looking lands I've ever seen, including unset lands. Yeah. Okay. If there's reprint, if there's any inkling of a reprint, whatever, target price goes back to 80. Do not pay over 80. If there's any inkling announcement, anything of a reprint, stop buying, hold until there's an 80 price somewhere. And then even when it hits 80, I would only buy a little bit and watch and wait, because if there's a big enough reprint, that price will go even lower. Again, the price that we get from distribution is lower than 80, duh, otherwise we wouldn't make money. But if MSRP is kind of like 80, then it could be lower than that too. So just be aware of that and understand that's gonna happen. So we already talked about structure. By the way, last thing about structure of the box, right? Other than all those goodies that you get in the first set of the box, there's still 12 set boosters. That's more than the 8 that you normally get in a bundle. And if you ask my opinion, 4 set boosters is better than 1 collector's pack. My opinion. Yeah. The list, the extra mythic rares, just usually it's going to be a better deal at the end of the day than having like foils that bend, etc. Right? So my personal preference, that Phyrexian Arena promo, I know there's a lot of them out there. It's not junk card though. It's not a bulk rare. It's not a bulk promo. It's not going to go to 50 cents. People are going to play with the card. This card has strong price memory, and it's seen quite a bit of reprints too, but it's held that $10 range for a long time. My guess is, given the pretty serious reprint in Phyrexia All-Be-One, this card may come down to like $5, $4, $3. But if the normal version is around that price, again, long term, I know right now it's like around $2, but long term, where it's going to be? The promo version will probably be a little bit higher than that. Let's say like 5. So not a bulk rare. It is what it is. $5 isn't expensive, but so is 10, right? So I just, honestly, my personal preference, pay $10 to get the one from Apocalypse where Gerard is like beheading Urza. I think it looks cooler. All right. So where's all this stuff going? WOTC basically has 2 choices right now: reprint or do not reprint. And yes, both are accurate choices for them, for their bottom line, for earning more money, for what they're trying to build, right? If they're doing this 5D chess strategy that I think they're kind of going down and doing this year, which is, by the way, drastically different than what they were doing last year, it could be very viable to also not reprint. So let's talk about why reprint, right? So take some similar products here. Jumpstart. Jumpstart had a supply shock initially. Jumpstart original was released in 2020 during COVID 2020 in that summer time. It had a supply shock because of shipping issues, because, again, all the ships were basically stopped because of COVID. And so your normal supply chain just didn't work. The reprint came way too late. Like, we're talking 6 to 8 months before a second wave even came to market. Usually that's around 2 to 3 months, right? Because they see the data, they see the sell-through, immediately order the print runs, and then get that shipped over. Again, all the other pieces, even if they could order fast, they weren't able to get it printed fast because factories were shut down. It's COVID, right? Number two, you couldn't ship it. Ships were not allowed to leave. There's COVID testing, etc., all those things. So everything slowed things down in 2020. Jumpstart did have 3 to 4 reprints though, eventually. I say 3 to 4 because I think that third print run, whether it was a fourth print run at the end or a really large third print run, it's still up for debate. But what we can see right now today is if you go to Amazon, Jumpstart 2020, the original, you can buy one for like, I think 85 plus tax. Distribution seems like they have a lot of supply of this stuff. I can get it a little bit cheaper, but around that price. So 85 plus tax is pretty like bare bottom. Nobody's really making money on that thing. But given that they have ample supply of this product from 2020, where they don't have any more Eldraine left, tells me that this thing was probably printed a lot, right? Whereas Eldraine stopped print runs, this continued, okay? Jumpstart was also a special product. One of the other issues why Jumpstart was harder to print is because the booster packs themselves are like different, right? So, you try to put 20 cards in, you have an outer wrapper, the plastic, right, is different from a generic booster pack, which lots of printers can handle, but only specialty printer can handle specialty products. So there is a little bit of that going on too. So there's less printers, more demand for those printers from other card games too, not just Magic the Gathering. And nowadays there's so many other card games, so printer demand is pretty real. So even and through all that printer demand, Jumpstart was reprinted and more than once. So again, that's pointing to possibility of reprints. Neon Dynasty, collector's boosters, very likely reprinted. I have a video coming up later, but essentially what's going to happen is that there are still Neon Dynasty collector's boosters out there from distribution, and as you can see, the price is still falling below 200, and the reason is because there's still more boxes out there. And the only reason I can think of why there's more boxes of that at distribution and not of sets around it for a very hot selling set is because Wizard did do a second reprint. They promise normally that they don't print collector's boosters, but it's just verbal, right? Actions speak louder than words, and we saw what happened when there was high demand for Neon Dynasty, no reprints coming. Those boxes went up to 280, 290, potentially even hitting 300, right, at some point. And of course, it fell right down because supply came to market. Wizard didn't have to say anything because we knew. As soon as we saw, wait, Neon Dynasty selling over here for 280 and I can get it over here for 175, buy, sell. But then, of course, as more buyers rush to the market, drives the prices down, you can see, obviously, there was supply. So likely Neon Dynasty did get a second reprint. In fact, distribution still, as of like last month, running sales on Neon Dynasty, collector's boosters. So I can tell you right now, likely that was reprinted. And so if a collector booster can be reprinted, so can this thing. Warhammer 40K, another example of specialty products with specialty packaging being reprinted, right? WOTC publicly announced that there was a third reprint coming right now. So within, I think, this month or next, another run of 30K will hit the shelves. You're going to have another buying opportunity if you did not buy those decks. I highly recommend it. Target price around 200, pretty good for those decks. So about 40 to 50 each deck, not a bad price. Okay, and here's the thing. This bundle's not even collector edition. So you can say all this stuff about gift edition, whatever. It's not collector edition. No promise ever given to say that they're not going to do a reprint. And even for collector's edition like Neon Dynasty, there was no promise, but they still reprinted it anyways, probably. Tells me that, like, yeah, why would they do that? And lastly, why leave the money on the table? Look, it's pretty obvious. They can make a lot of money if they reprint it right now. They can reprint it, don't even go through distribution, send it directly to Amazon, sell it directly through Amazon at a slightly marked up price, 90, 100, and they'll still sell through. Totally fine, right? So those are all reasons why print. Now onto the less popular idea here, no reprints. So why no reprints? So a lot of people say, oh, it's high demand, they need money, so they're going to reprint it. Not true. Think about the sets just in the last 2 years that did not see reprints. Commander Legends, the collector's booster, right? Remember that? It was a supply shock. And they actually printed very low because they were kind of testing the product and they didn't know what's going to happen. And of course, it sold super well. So yeah, okay. That's also why those boxes are like, I think they're what, like $500-$600 right now for those collector's boosters for Commander Legends. Second one, Double Masters. Double Masters Original, those boxes went sky high. Cards were good. People wanted the packs, and there was just none on the market. So you see what happens when there's a product actually is printed to a lower quantity, it drives the price like insane levels. They didn't reprint that. TSR, Time Spiral Remastered. That's actually a pretty interesting one. I think there was a reprint much later, but originally for like almost a year, that thing didn't get reprinted. So look, could be another COVID thing, probably. But I'm saying like if TSR took that long to even consider reprint, it could be months before we see anything for the completed bundles as well. The other thing is bundles, just as normal, have always traditionally been a one print run product. Now, there's no promise of this, again, not like collectors, but because again, the way that you have to structure a bundle, you have to print a lot of excess things that are not normal to a draft booster for even other card games. It is weird. So like printing that outer cardboard, a lot of times bundles have to add a dice that comes from a different factory in China. So if you look at your dice, they'll say dice made in China. This one doesn't have a dice, so maybe it makes that a little bit easier, but bundles are not that easy to print. Again, it requires special printers and special facilities to do it. So it could be that the bundles just don't get reprints. Yeah. And then of course, capture FOMO. So on one hand, you can reprint and capture actual monetary value, but then you lose a lot of consumer confidence, or in this case, maybe not even confidence because you're kind of pissing off consumers, but in a way you're creating FOMO, right? So if you don't reprint, you send a supply shock into the market, you create FOMO, and the next set, any special thing you print next time, you can print 10, 20, 30, 40% extra, maybe even, and the market will absorb that and it wouldn't even be a problem. So what they could be doing, and this is what I would do actually if I ran Wizard, is you don't reprint complete editions to kind of signal like what you're doing for now until whenever you change that again. But in essence, you're printing more for the next set and you're allowing for more supply to be absorbed into the market. When they report like top line, bottom line revenue, whatever to earners on the earnings call, shareholders don't care how many boxes of complete edition you printed. They don't have to report that stuff. They just say how much money did they make in the last quarter. Making money is not necessarily specifically saying we reprinted this or didn't reprint that. You can totally create FOMO and earn more money. All you have to do is earn more money. Okay, so that's why they might not reprint this thing. So what do I think? Coming up to the end of the video here. I think if you enjoy the product and you can pick up the product anywhere, look at small LGSs, by the way. There's a lot of small LGSs out there that may still have the product not marked up at 100. They may even give you one of those Phyrexian dice, the special like click wheel ones. That's a great price. I buy it for 100, support your LGS, great. And they still earn a decent living on that $100 purchase. Anything above 120, again, all in. I think it's a bit high, but again, if there's no reprint, no access to it or whatever, 120 is still maybe not too cheap or too expensive if you just want to have some of those cards. Again, those lands are really good looking and those are guaranteed, right? So that's the nice part, is like, even if the mythic rares are random, the lands are not random. You're always going to get 10 of them, 2 of each color. That's great. So I can just recommend that. I think right now we have to be realistic and move up the price from 80 as target up to 100 to 120. And that I would say is still low, but like good luck getting anything under that, right? But if they show up, I would pull the trigger if you're just buying it for yourself. If you're buying to invest, do not pay anything above 100. Okay, so you understand. Like me, I'm not paying over 100 because I'm not buying to play. My strategy, totally different from yours. But at the same time, for me to get my preferential pricing, usually I have to put in orders for hundreds. It's not 1 or 2. Very different too. But yeah, don't FOMO. Look, if it's not below 120, no need to fear, no need to like go panic, whatever. My recommendation, don't pay 120 even if you love the lands. Buy the lands instead. Pay, let's say, like, I don't know, $30 or something for a full set, maybe 60 for the full set. Honestly, it's better this way. Don't FOMO, buy the whole thing, and then open your packs, realize you got nothing, you got, whatever. Just buy the singles, honestly, right? Or just wait for the next cool thing. save the money, wait for the next cool thing, whatever is going to happen. Probably by the end of the year, we're going to have other cool things you can buy. Doesn't matter. Buy a secret layer, whatever, right? Like, you don't need to buy this thing at above 120. Buy singles. Prices are falling. If you want to just have one of these like special oil slick raised mythic rares, I think Luca is like a really cheap one. Probably pick him up. I don't even think the Planeswalker is really that bad. Maybe everyone's just like shitting on him, but I think it's okay. It's really cheap. I think my friend told me, I didn't check pricing, but he told me it's like $10 on TCG Player. So if Luca's 10, I mean, and you just want one to see what kind of like that foiling looks like, $10 not bad. Or instead, pay $5 each, buy 2 lands or 3 lands of the ones you're going to play, put them into special slots for your decks or for your, like I have a land station I use for all of my limited gameplay. I will be swapping them with oil slick raised foils when I have the chance. I don't, currently have the supply. I have to sell, fulfill orders that you guys have put in first before me. You guys are before me, okay? But remember, guys, have fun. Magic Gathering is a game. You don't want to gamble it. You don't want to gamble on it because, again, if you gamble, you buy all this stuff, you try to earn your money back or whatever, this kind of crap, like this kind of thinking, that's going to lead you to basically regret a lot of things in about 5 to 10 years when you realize you want to quit the game and you're selling your collection pennies on the dollar to people like me. So don't do that. Play the game, have fun. Don't spend more than you think you're going to do, and definitely don't gamble on it. It's not worth it. All right, Mark Solo Games, I'm out. I hope that's helpful. If you have any other questions about Complete Edition, leave them in the comments. I'll try to answer them. I probably won't make another video on this topic, as I think we've beaten it to death.